to the Honorable Chairperson of this committee, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, to our Honorable Senator Attendance, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, Senator Bongo, to fellow government officials, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. The Department of National Defense recognizes the financial implications of the burgeoning pensions on our military and uniformed personnel. While we fully support the enactment of legislative measures to address the current issues hounding the pension system, the DND and the AP respectfully appeals that the morale and welfare of our soldiers be given due weight in this deliberation, considering that the mere notion of modernizing our pension system, it created already some sort of apprehension. At present, mere discussions of proposals relating to retirement benefits, most especially the imposition of the pensionable age, has already affected the morale and caused uneasiness, not only from within the active ranks of the armed forces, but even from our veterans and retirees. As pointed out by J1, General Romel Roldan, during our previous meetings, and also your honors, we have went to Fifth ID, and we have some sort of discussions with the personnel and the commanders, the Commander Norcom, and also the commander of Fifth ID, and all the personnel in face-to-face and BTC. We anticipated that around 70 to 80% of our enlisted personnel eligible for optional retirement will gonna retire kasi ang gusto nila sir i-avail na po nila yung pension system ng current system kasi yung apprehension po ng new possible new MUT law magkakaroon po ng implication sa kanilang tinatawag na yung retirement nila sa optional retirement. Ito po yung mga naka 20 years na po sa serbisyo to avail the same given the uncertainty of them immediately receiving pensions upon retirement should the system be overhauled. So it is possible we would want to appeal to our honorable senators that we should really look on the possible middle ground that we can really see that the moral welfare of our people will be taken care of. During our discussion, there is no problem if the system will be given to the new entrants. They all unanimously agree. But in the 4 presentation and even the 7 areas, including the lump sum that will be given, will be reduced from 36 months to 18 months. There are some adverse reaction. If this is still financially impossible, we are very amenable and open to modifications in the system so long as these are fair and equitable to the military and the MUP, and also it is based on the financial soundness or scientific actuarial science. The men and women of the armed forces are fully committed to their oath. Our soldiers, airmen, sailors, and marines are always willing and ready to defend our country and protect our people from all threats. The AP continues to obtain the highest approval, satisfaction, and trust rating from the Philippine populace. As the officer in charge of DND, it is secretary duty to constantly look out for the troops' welfare, and one of them is the assurance of its modest life upon retirement. In fact, the President also gave my instruction that he is very much concerned on the impact of this MUP on the moral and welfare of our personnel and policemen. And he wanted that there should be a continuous discussion to have the common ground. At the end of the day, ensuring a fair, equitable retirement and pension is the least we can do for the brave men and women of the armed forces of the Philippines who continue to lay their lives on the line protecting the Filipino people and defending the Philippines. For the information of everybody, also the increase of the pay and allowances of the soldiers only come and fully realized in 2019, your honors. Actually, we are very thankful for the previous administration for giving us this opportunity that our pay and allowance have been doubled. With that, maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Secretary Galvez, for your opening statement. We proceed now with the Philippine National Police. Do you have any opening statement?
Honorable Senator Jinggoy Estrada, Chairperson, Committee on National Defense and Security, Peace Unification and Reconciliation. Senator Alberto de la Rosa, sir. Senator Bongo, to the distinguished members of the Senate, fellow public servants, a pleasant morning to all. I'm Police General Brigadier General Ross Alvarado, the Acting Deputy Director for Controllership. At the outset, and in behalf of the men, women, and officers of the PNP, I would like to extend my utmost gratitude for inviting us to this hybrid joint public hearing on the proposed military and human personnel pension reforms law. Such invitation manifests your valued recognition and having all the stakeholders participate in the discussion of this contentious matter. Relative thereto, the PNP expresses its support for the immediate passage of this legislative measure, as this would ensure the fiscal viability of government pension funds. The DILG has also directed all the bureaus and each attached agencies to submit their respective positions on the four features of the proposed MUP reform law. Hence, the PNP submitted a letter dated May 3, 2023, addressed to the Secretary of the DILG, the Honorable Attorney Benjamin D. Abalos Jr., stipulating the PNP's position on the following four important issues to it. A, applicability of the law, whether or not the proposed bill should apply to both new entrants and active personnel. B, on the proposed pensionable age, whether or not MUPs receive their pension at 56 years old, regardless of the number of years in the service. C, on the mandatory contributions for active personnel and new entrants, similar to the GSIS pensioners, and D, automatic indexation, as to whether there will be no automatic indexation of pension to the salary of active personnel of similar rank. Thus, upon careful perusal of the applicable laws and taking into consideration the importance of the retirement and pension reform system, the PNP has propounded that on all the four issues, our position is that the proposed bill should apply to new entrants only, in line with the principle of prospectivity of statutes and non-diminution of benefits. This is further so considering that MUPs are not like any other government employees whose services are required or on call 24 hours a day. Lately, on May 8, 2023, a small group meeting was held at the Legazpi Ballroom, Makati Diamond Residences, being organized by the Presidential Legislative Liaison Office to discuss the proposed bill on the MUP retirement and pension reform system. During the meeting, the following 7 key reform proposals of the MUP bill were then presented by Ms. Rosalia Vidillon, the National Treasurer. A, the reform to apply to all active personnel and new entrants. B, adjustment of pension benefits by up to 1.5% within a given year, subject to evaluation of economic conditions and actuarial life of pension fund. C, MUPs start receiving the monthly pension at 57 years old. D, mandatory contribution for active personnel and new entrants that will ultimately inure for their benefits. E, MUPs to receive immediately upon retirement a lump sum equal to 18 months of the monthly retirement pay regardless of age at retirement. F, all contributions and proceeds from assets shall accrue exclusively to each MUP agency's own trust fund. And G, separate trust fund committees shall be established to govern the funds. The National Treasurer also recommended during the meeting for a revival of the Technical Working Group for the MUP retirement and pension reform system under the PLI law. In view of this development, it is then imperative that the PNP will also undertake a supplemental review and revisiting of its position on the proposed MUP reform bill. The PNP Technical Working Group has been reactivated and tasked to conduct an in-depth review focusing on the 7 key features of the proposal and for the subsequent issuance of resolution stipulating the PNP's official stand on the matter. Rest assured, sir, that the PNP will immediately submit its supplemental position on this significant piece of legislation. Thank you, sir, and maraming salamat po.
Thank you, General
Alvarado, sir. Alvarado, sir.
Alvarado.
Opo.
Okay. Proceed now with the Philippine Coast Guard.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Senator Jingo Ejercito Estrada, sir, and Honorable Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, sir. The Philippine Coast Guard understands the need for a more collaborative retirement system for all military and uniformed personnel, which seeks to ease the burden of the annual national appropriation and rationalization and rationalize the existing retirement and pension scheme. With this, the Philippine Coast Guard is amenable to proposed changes in the pension system, and after a careful review of the measures being presented while taking into consideration the sentiments of our personnel, the Philippine Coast Guard wishes to convey our position on each reform proposal. On mandatory contribution rates, the Philippine Coast Guard would like to express that we are amenable to a mandatory contribution rate of 5% based on base pay only and not on the gross monthly compensation as proposed. This is in consideration that MUPs have other equally important expenses, particularly providing family support and not to discount their daily personnel needs when they retire. On retirement and pension age, the compulsory age of retirement should still be at 56 years old or 36 years in the service, whichever comes later, and maintain the existing optional retirement of 20 years of satisfactory active service with outright pension upon retirement. Undeniably, military and uniformed service is intensely physical and stressful that observes a 24 hours and 7 days work period away from their families and loved ones most of the time while they are in active service. Retirement at age 56 means that they are given some time to enjoy their family to recompense for their absence while serving our country. On the coverage and applicability of the unified system, minor revisions on the existing pension scheme shall be implemented on active members. Drastic changes on measures should be avoided so as not to violate the principle of non-diminution of benefits as guaranteed under the Constitution, and at the same time maintaining the morale of our Philippine Coast Guard uniformed personnel. Newly enacted laws should be prospective in nature, hence complete overhaul of the pension system shall be applicable only to new entrants. On automatic indexation, the Philippine Coast Guard agrees to the removal of automatic indexation provided that there shall be regular pension review and adjustments based on inflation or at 5%. On monthly pension computation, the monthly pension computation shall still be based on the base pay and longevity pay of the grade next higher than the permanent grade last held upon retirement. This will compensate the no automatic indexation scheme and at least give premium to the loyalty and on staying on to serve until retirement in order to attain the full economical utilization of services of well-experienced, highly trained, and mature officers. On the MUP agency's own trust fund, creation of one MUP fund authority for all MUPs, which is composed of all line agencies with concerned uniformed personnel such as the Department of National Defense, the Department of Interior and Local Government, the Department of Justice, and the DOTR. This is to ensure uniformity and cost efficiency. In closing, the men and women of your Philippine Coast Guard understands that change in the retirement system is inevitable. Nevertheless, Coast Guard hopes that the above-mentioned position be considered for the benefit of the government at the same time maintaining the morale and welfare of its personnel after retirement. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Vice Admiral Patrimonio. Are you related to the basketball player?
This is under 3rd degree, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay, proceed now with the BJMP.
Yeah, to the honorable chairman of this committee, Honorable Jingo Estrada, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Bongo, and other present this morning. The Bureau of Jail Management and Penology fully support the proposed bills of the Military Uniform Personnel Reform, its immediate passage with the following recommendation. First, that this bill would be applicable only to new entrants. That the compulsory retirement age of military uniform personnel remains to 56. Then the mandatory contribution be applicable only to new entrants, MUPs only, with this share, for the personnel share of 5% and government share of 16% on the first year. On the second year, 7% and 14% consecutively of 9 and 12, or from the monthly compensation. On the fifth, that the previous rule on the payment of retirement pay for voluntary retirement be retained. That the BGMP be given due representation through its chief in the proposed Military and Uniform Personnel Fund Authority Board of Directors. That the retirement for the next higher pay grade for the purposes of retirement pay and benefits be retained for the active military personnel only. With this, we're hoping for your consideration of our recommendation on the Senate bills seeking to provide a unified system for the separation, retirement, and pension of military and uniform personnel. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and other senators present. This public hearing for giving us opportunity to present the BGMP's position and comments. Good day po and maraming salamat.
Thank you. Superintendent, what's your name again?
Ruel Rivera, sir.
Ruel Rivera.
Yes, sir.
Ano yung JC? Ano?
Jail Chief Superintendent.
Jail. Allergic kasi ako sa jail. So, Bureau of Fire.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the Honorable Committee on National Defense, headed by the good Senator Jingoy Estrada, sir, to Senator Bato de la Rosa, to Senator Bongo, and other members of these legislators present, good morning. I'm Chief Superintendent Jesus Fernandez, and I'm tasked to speak today on the legislative proposals on behalf of the Bureau of Fire Protection. Reforms on the retirement system of the MUP had long been endeavored by several past Congresses. However, due to the intricacy of the issues, the vastness and depth of its impact, and the sensitivities on the retirement particulars of the system, resolutions has never been achieved. The result of the persisting ballooning pension cost up to this date, as a former Senator Franklin Drilon said during one of the committee hearings in the 18th Congress, the Congress must propose reforms that will produce the least sensitivities to the retirement benefits of the MUP. The Bureau of Fire Protection fully understands the urgency of the reforms, emphasizes on the imminent ballooning of the pension funding requirements. While we subscribe to the noble intents of the proposals, we seek to buttress a balanced contemplation between two government interests in issue. One, an adequate remuneration for our military and uniformed personnel for their services. And two, the adjustment of such benefit to ensure sustainability of government funds. We submit that it is the general position of the BFP that the reform should only be applied to new entrants. First, the benefits bestowed to MUP personnel under Republic Act number 6975, 9263, and 8551, and other relevant laws, decrees, and issuances should apply to those who entered the service during the effectiveness of these laws. One of the major considerations why active MUP personnel entered the service is the retirement package of the MUP for MUP personnel. Second, retirement laws are social legislations. The objective of the retirement laws is primarily to provide for the retiree's sustenance and hopefully even comfort when he no longer has the capability to earn a living. Third, to amend existing retirement benefits being enjoyed by active MUP personnel is to violate the principle of diminution of benefits. To emphasize, the existing retirement benefits were unitarily given by the government to active personnel when they entered the service by virtue of the aforementioned laws and were not consistently applied since the effectivity of these laws. Fourth, the existing retirement laws of the MUP were enacted into law in recognition of the peculiar mandates of military and uniformed personnel, which differs from civilian services. They are constantly exposed to environmental, psychological, economic, and political risks and hazards on significant levels. Thus, the retirement benefits are regarded as gratuity for the personal services for the government. As for our comment on the specific changes on the retirement particulars being proposed by subject Senate bills, we already submitted our position paper containing the provisions we were amenable and not amenable, Mr. Chair. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you, Chief Superintendent Fernandez. Right. Proceed now with the representative of the BUCCOR.
Greetings to our honorable senators, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, Senator Pato de la Rosa, Senator Bongo, and to other government officials present. The Bureau of Corrections is a new member of the Uniformed Service by virtue of Republic Act RA 10575, Bureau of Corrections Act of 2013, which was approved last 24 May 2013 and took effect on the same year after its publication as required under the law. To date, the BUCCOR uniformed personnel have no approved separation, retirement, and pension plan. Its retirement and separation benefit system for uniformed personnel was duly reviewed by the DOJ and endorsed to the DBM or Department of Budget and Management, but was withdrawn in anticipation of the passage of a new law, which is we are now taking up. The BUCCOR fully subscribes to the intent and spirit of the proposed bills as it gears toward sound fiscal management and sustainability of NUP separation, retirement, and pension system. However, there are provisions in the proposed law which BUCCOR have some reservations. Number one, as regards the age requirement of 65 years old and the 30 years of satisfactory active service requirement, the attainment of 65 years old or the accumulation of 30 years of satisfactory active service, whichever comes later, should constitute the compulsory retirement of the NUP. As to the proposed establishment of the NUP Fund Authority that will handle the government or govern the funds, a separate trust fund for each agency must be established to govern these funds. It is recommended that all contributions and proceeds from the assets shall accrue exclusively to each NUP agency's own trust fund. The BUCCOR's position is for the creation of a non-appropriated fund for BUCCOR Uniformed Personnel Retirement Plan, patterned after the United States Army Non-Appropriated Fund Employee Retirement Plan. Under this NAF retirement plan, BUCCOR personnel would contribute certain percentage of their salary to fund the retirement. The contributions of BUCCOR personnel and the Bureau's contribution will be deposited in a BUCCOR's NAF Retirement Trust Fund, and those funds will be invested by the trust and used to pay the retirement benefits of BUCCOR personnel when they retired. Likewise, there are several land assets of BUCCOR which are under the exclusive control of the BUCCOR in accordance with Republic Act 10575 and its implementing rules and regulations. Under the law, BUCCOR has absolute authority to design, develop, formulate, and implement land use development plans and policies, and these real properties of BUCCOR shall be used as means to promote sustainability, both income and non-income generating programs. Portions of the proceeds thereof may be used to finance the livelihood program that will be beneficial for BUCCOR's personnel in sustaining its retirement plan, which is established in accordance with the proposed Senate bill. As regards to other provisions of these proposed bills, BUCCOR leave it to the sound judgment of this honorable committee. Respectfully submitted for honorable committee's consideration. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. General Katapang.
Yes, sir.